Hello everybody, Chris Waters here, and I want to start this belated episode with an apology for my absence. It's been quite a while since I recorded a podcast episode, and if you've been watching along on YouTube, obviously you've been spoiled for choice. There's plenty of hunting content that I release on there. That's actually my primary channel that I do release hunting content through. So if you haven't already checked out the Huntsman YouTube channel, I please encourage you to go over there. That's where most of the stuff happens. But if you've just been listening to the podcast, I do owe you an apology. It's been quite a while since I released an episode, and part of this episode, this solo episode where I'll just be speaking, is to address the reasons why I've been absent, and because there are good reasons, and then also to talk about what's happening in the future. But what I can confirm now is that there will be more podcast episodes coming soon. I have a number of conversations lined up already that I'm excited to record and then edit and then release quite quickly. So if you are a fan of this podcast, good news, there's more stuff coming. But let's kind of get into why the absence, because I am very conscious and aware of the fact that if you've been watching, listening, or both to this podcast from the beginning, I did say that I was going to try and produce a certain number of episodes within a certain time frame. And obviously I didn't hit that goal, that mark. And I also said to keep me accountable because I want to be kept accountable. And thank you to those people who did keep me accountable, because there was a few of you, and I really do appreciate that. But I guess I want to take this opportunity to tell the rest of you why it happened. So essentially, at the start of 2023, I was actually a little bit before that, towards the end of 2022, I was thinking about the channel and thinking about the content that I was producing, primarily over on the YouTube space, and whether I was giving my best, whether I was producing the highest quality content, the most wholesome content, the most interesting, the most educational content. I mean, remember, my goal is to push the hunting industry, to push hunting culture in Australia forward. That's my ultimate goal. And all these platforms that I use are driven towards that end. And so I felt like I was just producing content on YouTube aimlessly, and it probably wasn't the best content that I could produce. And so I thought about, well, what would it look like if I slowed down and produced something that I was really proud of? Maybe even bundle something together in such a way that I could use it in other spaces, other platforms, other networks potentially. And so I came up with this idea of producing a hunting TV show, basically. But given my lack of production skills, to do it in a test environment, to produce a pilot season. You know, some people produce a pilot episode for a TV show and then they pitch it. I decided to produce a pilot season of hunting content. And the idea was that I wanted to see, first and foremost, whether I could do it, whether I could actually achieve it, because there's a lot that goes into a hunting production. For those of you who aren't aware, like, there's the time away from home. Like, I have a young family. I have 2 young boys. I have a wife, and I have obligations to them. I want to be around them, and being away from them for long stretches of time is difficult and not necessarily healthy all the time. And so I wanted to make sure that I could do that in a healthy way and in a balanced way. I wanted to see if I could afford it financially. That's another big factor, right? These big productions take a lot of money to produce. And even a pilot season that I was primarily filming myself still involved paying for airfares, paying for food, paying for access, lots of different things. And then I also wanted to test the industry to see if there was interest in the industry to support a project like this. And then finally, I wanted to see if you would be interested in it, whether I could attract enough eyeballs onto the content to justify its existence. Because while it's fantastic just to make things just for fun, I'm very much conscious and cognizant of the fact that I am a limited capacity person. There's only so much that I can do. I only have so much mental bandwidth and time and physical energy, and everything I need to do has to be purpose driven. And so I want to see that if I release something, whether people would be interested. And so I started at the start of 2023, and I ended up finishing around July, production in July. And what came out of it was an incredible experience and an incredible product. I released 10 episodes. I traveled to Queensland, to New South Wales, to Tasmania, to Victoria, and did some amazing hunting and produced what I think is an amazing pilot season of The Huntsman, basically. Season 1, the pilot. And for the first 7 episodes, I produced them completely by myself. I filmed them by myself. I edited them by myself. I released them by myself. I organized. Everything was me, and there was so much work involved in that, and it's incredibly difficult to communicate how hard that is, how hard that was, how complex it is to try and chase after a living, breathing, dynamic animal that's incredibly hard to hunt, just normally, but then to try and capture that experience with a camera and make it feel like you're there, give you that sense of immersion that you're right beside me or that you're the one pulling the trigger, to even just line up on animals, set up a camera, hit record, get it in focus, and then grab the rifle and line up with the rifle and then execute a clean, ethical kill. That's a very difficult process to execute. And I'm really proud of what I was able to achieve by myself. And then the final 3 episodes, I actually got the help of a cameraman and Jesse Ray, who I bumped into kind of during the production. I was about halfway through the production. I actually met him, and we had a synergy of thought and purpose, and he ended up coming in and helping me record the final 3 episodes. And it's all done and dusted now, which is pretty exciting. It was actually completed in, I think the last episode went live in August, although production was completed in July. But I encourage you to go watch it because it was a fantastic success. It was an incredible experience, and it's setting me up for what I'll talk about in just a second in 2024. But it came at the cost, basically, of this podcast, and it wasn't something that I was intending to stop. I had all intentions to continue to record it while I was recording the season of The Huntsman, but I think I underestimated how much work was going to be involved, basically. How much work and my time. And podcasts are the kind of things that you record outside of normal working hours when you're obviously having conversation with people who have 9-to-5 jobs and all that kind of thing. And so it was basically going to come at the expense of my family. And I was just not willing to take more time away from them than I already had. And so that's the reason why this podcast didn't release the remaining episodes that I was hoping to release. But I am still committed to doing it. And I am trying to think critically and intelligently about how I can do this and what's happening next year. So maybe let me talk about what's happening next year, because it's pretty exciting. So I was really proud of the first season. I thought it was great. Had some really cool experiences, met a whole bunch of cool people. It had a great reception. But it was funny. The final 3 episodes, when I was working with Jesse Ray, the cameraman, I was really struck by how close the gap was between what I was trying to accomplish and what a full-on high-production TV show could be. Lots of what I recorded in season 1, the pilot season, was with the GoPro, with this camera that I'm using right now. It's a 4K camera, but it's 4 years old or something, like 5 years old maybe. And it's a camcorder. It's not great. And so I was trying my best with the tools that I had and the skills that I had. And I was proud of what I accomplished, but I knew that there was a gap between that and a really high production that could essentially live in the likes of Netflix or Binge or Foxtel or somewhere like that, Stan. And so I wanted to accomplish that. I'm really driven and passionate about making a difference in Australia. And I know if I want to make a difference, I need to find avenues and pathways and networks and platforms that extend outside of the hunting space, that provide eyeballs and attention of people who aren't necessarily interested in hunting. And YouTube is very much driven by aligning people's interests. It doesn't so much, if you're not interested in pottery, for instance, you're not going to get just given a pottery video. That doesn't do that. So the odds of me kind of influencing and reaching people outside of hunting through YouTube alone is very, very difficult. I needed to find another alternative. And so given the success of season 1, I thought, well, and then with the added kind of resources and power and skill of the new cameraman, Jesse Ray, I thought, well, this is something I could do. I wonder if there's interest in the industry to fund this. Now, season 1 was kind of accidentally funded. It's probably, well, not accidentally. It's a funny story. Essentially, I was already having conversations with Beretta Australia about doing something together, but it was more along the influencer space, not so much in producing a hunting TV show. And I was talking to them about it and saying, I'm not much of an influencer, like not in the classic sense of it. Yes, I'm sure I influence people, but I'm kind of old school in my approach, like long form podcasting content and long form video content. I'm not really in the Instagram, TikTok space. That's not really where I play or where my skills are. Or what I produce is not necessarily interesting to those groups. And so we were talking about it and just talking through numbers and stuff. And I ended up going and filming episode 1 and 2 of the pilot season while we were having these discussions. And I was a bit cheeky and sneaky because coming off the back of that hunt that produced those 2 episodes, I decided that I would pull together, I'd edit those videos, those episodes completely, and I would basically stick Beretta's name on it. and I was using Beretta gear, and I was wearing Beretta clothes, and I was hunting with Beretta rifles. And so I thought, well, I'll just like pretend that they're a sponsor and produce this, and then I'll give it to them. And so I did. I gave it to them at the end and said, before anyone else, obviously it wasn't live or it wasn't public knowledge yet, but I produced it and I said, hey, this is what I actually want to do. This is what I actually believe in. Are you interested in this? And it was like, it gave them a fully realized pitch, basically. And they could have said no, and I would have gone and scrubbed their names off it and found a different way to promote it. But they were interested. And so that's how season 1 essentially got funded. And then later, towards the end of the season, my friend Michael was interested, who's from Eagle Eye Hunting Gear, and he wanted to help promote the show as well. And so he kind of joined on towards the end. But for season 2, I knew that if we were going to be serious about this, that production was going to be pretty expensive. I have zero experience in producing a full hunting TV show in terms of a production team. But I did a whole bunch of research, spoke to a whole lot of industry experts, and figured out it was going to be pretty expensive to produce. And it's hard to kind of quantify to people the amount of money that's required to produce something like this, because like you can break it down into components, right? There's accommodation and food for you and all of the production team. There's the cost of the production team, individuals, their salaries, their time, and they're quite expensive. There's and there could be like cameramen, sound engineers, editors, a whole bunch of people involved. Then there is the cost of the access if it was on private property, or paying for the guests who are coming on board. There's the cost of the flights. There's a lot of money, and I don't want to go into specifics about how much money. Suffice to say, a lot of money. But it's an important thing to do, I think. And so I wanted to do it, and I knew that there was a gap that I needed to fill in terms of money. And again, like I said before, everything I do is purpose-driven. I wanted to make sure that if I was going to produce something great, that it would be great, but that it would accomplish a goal. And it had to accomplish the goal, it had to be great. And so I had to look into the industry and dig a little bit deeper and see and kind of garner interest. And luckily, I had this pilot season that I could use as an example of what I was able to produce, specifically the last 3 episodes that are fairly high quality in the terms of their production. And so I started to do that. And now I'm at a point where I can announce to you, and I'll be announcing this on YouTube at the same time in a different video, which you can go watch that video if you want, that season 2 of The Huntsman is confirmed, which I'm pretty chuffed about. If you're watching this on YouTube, this podcast episode, you can see my mouth is like, I'm smiling quite a lot because it's very exciting. So what's exciting about it is that I will be producing 10 full-length hunting episodes, 24-minute hunting episodes. They will air on the Huntsman YouTube channel, but also on Foxtel Australia via the Aurora channel, which I'm incredibly excited about. So for the first time, the Huntsman content, video content, is going to live outside of YouTube. And I'm pretty excited about the opportunity for non-hunters to see it and experience what I get to experience. And I feel incredibly blessed to be able to promote my content on that channel. So that's pretty exciting. There will also be a bonus 10 episodes, behind the scene episodes, that are available exclusively to people who are watching on YouTube. So the idea, it's going to be pretty crazy, but I proved that we could pull it off with the first season, is that we will be filming, hunting, filming, and then releasing episodes every single month from February till November. And if the math doesn't quite add up, that's because we'll be filming 2 in April to take advantage of the rut and the raw. And I will be hunting and filming in Queensland, in New South Wales, in Victoria, in South Australia, and hopefully in the NT. But we will see. That one is not confirmed. But hunting cheetle, hunting fallow, hunting sambar, hunting goats, hunting pigs, hunting hog deer, which I'm incredibly excited about during the balloted and the season, which is in April. So I'm very, very excited about the content that's coming. And there will be some returning guests that if you've been watching the show and hopefully love, as well as a bunch of new guests that I'm pretty excited about. It's going to be a crazy, awesome season, and I'm pretty excited about it. So if you are interested in following along with the season 2, keep your eyeballs peeled on the Huntsman YouTube channel. They'll be releasing towards the end of the month, starting at the end of February. Or if you're wanting to watch it on Foxtel Aurora, again, it'll be available towards the end of the month. I haven't announced the exact date and times that it will release on Foxtel Australia, but I will do that soon. So I'm going to be balancing that plus the podcast plus the YouTube channel all in the one go. It's going to be pretty hectic and crazy, plus running the Australian Hunters Club. But I think it's a really positive thing. Now, I want to talk briefly about how I've managed to fund this because I want to talk about not just the sponsors that are involved, but the philosophy behind funding it. Because I know that when you talk about sponsorship, people generally have one of 3 reactions. The first reaction is, awesome, Chris, that's so cool. They're great businesses that you're working with. Man, how cool that you're pulling all of these different people and different brands together and having an impact in the industry. People see the collective impact of all of those brands working together. Some people are in the middle. They're like, oh, okay, cool. They don't really think about it. They don't really care about it either way. It's just information. It's just a brand that they know or they don't know. Let's just take it or leave it. And then the third group are the people who have a somewhat negative reaction to that. And it's largely because they've had negative experiences in the past. They've been burnt by creators who have gone down the sponsorship path and then turned to the dark side of sponsorship. And so they're worried and concerned about, content that they love and they believe in going down that path. And so I want to address the people in that third camp and talk to you specifically and anyone else who wants to listen about my philosophy behind the sponsorship to help ease your concerns about it if you do have concerns, because it's important that we talk about these kind of things, and sponsorship is actually a really positive tool, and so I want to talk about that. But first, let me kind of give you some information about who's sponsoring the show. So Beretta Australia are continuing to sponsor the show, which is very exciting. They are the premier sponsor. They are the named sponsor on the show. I'm also really excited to work with Ridgeline Australia. Very, very excited to work with them. I've been wearing Ridgeline ever since I started hunting. In fact, I think I've even been wearing Ridgeline on the YouTube channel since the start as well. Like actively wearing. I have a Ridgeline jacket that I wear quite regularly. So very excited about Ridgeline. Lower Boots, who have just celebrated 100 years of making boots. They are the best quality hunting boot in Australia, in my opinion. I mean, you don't make boots for 100 years and not make great product, I guess, right? That's a really good test of the product. So I'm very excited to work with them. Michael from Eagle Eye Hunting Gear is coming on again. He continues to believe in the product, which is very, very cool. I'm very excited to work with him. Evolution Gear, who make fantastic firearm cases and bags. I'll be working with them, and especially given I'll be traveling so much, I'm really thankful to be able to work with them and protect my firearms as I'm traveling. Tassie Tiger knives. If you haven't heard of Tassie Tiger knives, they are all across Australia in terms of they're in gun shops everywhere, and they make a fantastic Australian hunting knife. Very, very keen and excited to work with them. And Twin Needle as well. Twin Needle are coming on board, who are actually a New Zealand apparel and hunting gear and backpack manufacturer. They actually manufacture everything themselves in-house. They don't send anything out, which is pretty cool. And they design all that stuff. In fact, most of the staff members they have on their team are just purely in the manufacturing side, which is very cool. So I'm pretty excited about getting some Twin Needle stuff to use as well. I'm just trying to think if I've missed anyone. I hope I haven't. I think there's going to be some other sponsors to come as well. But I can't announce them yet. But yeah, they're the sponsors. So, sponsorship. How does it work? Is it good? Is it bad? When's it good and when's it bad? So, as I mentioned before, my primary goal is to push the hunting scene forward, to promote positive hunting ethics, to get more people involved in this wholesome activity, to increase positivity within the Australian hunting culture and enrich the hunting culture. And part of that as well is to increase and promote the hunting industry itself and the hunting economy that's behind the hunting industry. And the reason why, I think that's important is because people speak with their money. What people value, they generally spend their money on. And it's a great indicator of where they see value. And it's also an indication to our government on what industries are important, what hobbies are important, what lifestyle choices are important. The government is democratic, so it's driven by people's votes and what people say, but it's also very much a capitalist vehicle. It understands money. And if there is money behind an industry or money behind a lifestyle, they're more than likely to support it and create legislation that supports it than not. Now, the hunting economy in Australia is still quite juvenile. It's quite young. It's not like the powerhouse that is America. There's a lot of money in firearms in America, in ammunition in America, in apparel in America. It's a very big market. And it drives, for right and wrong, a lot of their politics. It doesn't do that in Australia. And I want to increase hunting in such a way and drive the economy in such a way that people get value from Australian hunting brands, great products that are made by Australians that helps sow into our economy, our local economy, our federal economy, but also our Australian hunting economy. And because when you get more and more people involved in something, and more and more people are buying locally, it kind of pushes everything up. And so I'm never ever going to be ashamed about promoting hunting businesses, especially Australian hunting businesses. People get kind of funny and icky about money when they talk about money. They get kind of nervous about it. There's no need to be nervous. We all need money. Money is an important tool in our society that help provide, it facilitates the fair exchange of services and products. And so you can't shy away from it, and you don't need to be worried about it. I'm never ashamed to talk about the ways that I make money because I have a family. I have a wife and I have 2 sons, and I need to feed them. And I have a responsibility to feed them and clothe them and give them an education and put a roof over their heads and give them positive experiences and wholesome experiences. And in order to do that, I require money. And so I'm never, ever, ever going to apologize for making money. Now, you can make too much money. You can make an obscene amount of money. And you can also do different things with your money for nefarious or positive altruistic things that you can do with your money. So even it's okay to earn a lot of money if you're using that to help others, if you're generous with your money, if you're supporting charities or helping people who are down on their luck. Money is not an evil thing. People can do evil things with money, but it's not an evil thing. And so in terms of season 2 of The Huntsman, I have all these costs to cover, all of these production costs, flights, accommodation, food, and staffing costs, all these different things. And if I was to try and pay for it out of my own pocket, there is no way that it would be financially successful. It would be a burden. it would put me back. It might even put me in the hole. Like it might even destroy my life if I was to do this just out of my own pocket. Because the reality is that a show like this, the caliber that we'll be producing, no pun intended, requires a large injection of cash. And one of the ways that you can get cash is through sponsorship. And essentially, what businesses are paying for is advertising. They're paying for their products to be seen in a natural and authentic light and used. And then it's up to you as the viewer to decide whether or not you think it's worth buying. No advertiser, no sponsor is forcing you to go out and buy those things. so you need to consider that as well. I'm working with these brands as well because I believe in them, because I like their products. And I'm sure that you've heard that. I'm sure you've heard that number of creators talk about that. Like, oh, I only use this stuff because I love it. And sometimes that's true and sometimes that's not. I guess you just need to trust me in this situation, that I went through the process and did my due diligence, and I only reached out to businesses that I actually wanted to work with. Now, there's a fine line. There's a balance between paying for the production and selecting the best businesses. And the scales very much could have slid in such a direction that all the businesses that I wanted to work with couldn't afford to sponsor the show, and I had to work with brands that I didn't believe in, and a large number of them, just to cover the show. But that's not what's happened here. I've been quite selective and picky with who I wanted to represent, what kind of hunting clothes I wanted to wear, what kind of firearms I wanted to use, all these different things. And I've tried as hard as possible to work with local businesses as well. And I'm not going to be ashamed about talking about their products. Now, these videos that are going to come out this season, it's not going to be like a magazine or like a pamphlet for those various sponsors where it's just like in your face, over the top marketing where every single frame has a logo in it or is a uniquely positioned product in the frame. It's not going to be like that. But at the same time, I want to promote these businesses' products. And they want to be promoted by me, and they see the value in pursuing the goals that I have for the Australian hunting industry and for Australian hunters as well. That's the thing, is these businesses that I'm working with, they're not faceless corporations. Each business that I'm talking to has people in it that believe in what I'm doing, that want to support what I'm doing, that are allied in the goals, that they want to see the hunting industry thrive. They want to see Australians eating clean, organic meat. They want to see people going out having adventures. They want to see people kind of managing their mental health. They want to see people, contributing to conservation. They want all those things. And so they see the vehicle, which is season 2 of The Huntsman, and they want to jump on board and they want to help promote it. And so that's what we'll be doing. And I'm not going to be ashamed about promoting their products. And I hope that helps you understand, if you are nervous about it, how this will all roll out. Now, again, I say this in this video, in this podcast episode, just as I said in the first episode, I want to be kept accountable because I'm incredibly passionate and incredibly driven, but that can sometimes lead to me wearing blinders, where I kind of doggedly pursue these goals and I kind of just get very, very singular and focused. And I don't want to step into territory that otherwise would be damaging for myself or for the industry. So I put out the call. I was going to say challenge, but it's not a challenge because hopefully it's not a challenge. The call that if you see me slipping up ethically, morally, reach out to me. I'm always open to having a conversation. Don't do it through the comment section. That's not healthy. That doesn't help anyone. But go reach out. You go to the Huntsman website, thehuntsman.com.au, go to the contact form, fill it out, and put your phone number in there, and we'll have a conversation. I'm always open to doing that. And I might then, in that conversation, give you extra context that helps you understand the reasons behind why I've made certain decisions. Or I might realize that what you're saying is completely true and I need to apologize and repent, and I will do that as well. But I guess I want you to see this for what it is. See my heart for what it is. And the opportunity that stands before us. There is very few people playing in this space. In fact, there's pretty much only one other person that's done anything like this. But we will be producing something of a scale even grander to what they've done. And so it's uncharted territory. It's new territory. It's new territory for Australia. And I need your support in order to pull it off. So I encourage you, please consider, continuing to give me your attention. That's all that I ask. When you've got time, if you're interested, if you find value, watch and listen to what I'm doing. You don't need to do anything else. I don't need your money. I don't need anything else apart from your goodwill, your engagement, which I love, your feedback, and if you want to give your attention, give your attention. And I hope that you find value in what I'm doing. I hope you can see the value in it. I hope that you share it with others as well. So yeah, that's what's happening. That's a big wrap. That's a big wrap on this episode. Again, I want to encourage you, if you are not a member of the Australian Hunters Club, please go and check that out, and you might find some value there. Again, we give away guided hunts every single month. I've just announced that next year in 2024, we are giving away 20 professional hunting experiences, which is pretty exciting. We give away hundreds of dollars of hunting gear every single month. We offer genuine reason. We also run events. We just finished our camp a couple of months ago. We've just announced our camp for 2024, which is going to be absolutely epic. It's going to be in Queensland. I can't go into too much detail if you're not a member, because you can't come unless you're a member. But there's going to be some incredible hunting opportunities. We're giving away a meat goat hunt. There is going to be a whole bunch of cool stuff. It's going to go over 3 days, I think, and it's going to be great. It's going to be really good. So check that out. Also, if you haven't checked out the Huntsman Season 1, I'll drop a link below where you can check out that entire season. It's another playlist to that. And keep your eyes peeled and ears tuned to what's happening in Season 2. It's going to be very, very exciting. Thank you for your patience as well with the ongoing podcast. There'll be some more episodes coming to you shortly. So thank you very, very much. And thank you for all the love and all the positivity and all of the encouragement that I receive daily. It goes a long way towards helping me do what I do. We have an amazing community. We are doing amazing things in the Australian hunting scene and industry, and we are slowly shaping the culture. It's becoming more and more positive. I can feel it. It's like sitting in the middle of the eye of the storm and seeing everything swirling around you. We are slowly extending that eye, and more and more people are getting into hunting. More and more people are enjoying it. More and more people are having a positive approach to it, and it's making a difference. I'm pretty excited. So thank you for you if you've been watching or listening and contributing to that space as well. It means a lot. So until next time, I hope you have some fun, get out there hunting, and I'll talk to you soon.